So my friend Brant Hansen is with me, and I'm so glad, Brant, to get a chance to chat with you because your new book, is it out yet? Is it coming out?
April 14th.
April 14th, so it's just around the corner here. I can't wait for it. It's called Unoffendable, and I love the premise of this book. Can you just kind of describe what led you to write it and what it's about?
Yeah, amazingly, it happened at a business meeting years ago. Our network director, I work in radio, but our network director said, you know what, you guys can choose to be unoffendable by and large. Just go into any situation. Just go, I'm not going to take offense. And I thought that was kind of crazy. But over time, I've realized, you know what, that's true about 99% of the time. You can cut out a huge portion of your anger and stress just by deciding ahead of time and just living that way. Like, I'm not going to be offended. I'm not going to take offense, and it makes life a lot better. So that's the basic idea behind that book.
And probably the reverse is actually true, that 99% of us probably are carrying some kind of offense around, aren't we?
Totally, and it makes us feel better about ourselves. In one way, it does, because it can make us feel superior to somebody else when we've been wronged, and so we don't let it go. But it really shows a lack of understanding about the way the world works. Honestly, when we're offended all the time, people get in traffic every day and have commutes for hundreds of miles, and they do it for decades, and they're continually shocked at drivers' behavior. I mean, they've logged 1 million miles, and they're always shocked. Like, at some point, when you're dealing with people, I think it behooves us to realize people are going to be this way because they are this way, and they've been this way since time began. So maybe we should acclimate to the world, realize that people are broken in different ways. They've got problems. People cut people off. People say things that are rude, and not be shocked. Like, I can't believe that person said it, when that person has said that very thing for 40 years in your family. Maybe at some point you can go, you know what, that's just the way they are, and I'm not going to let it get to me anymore.
I think all of us probably can get the idea of other people not being offended at me. It's like,
right.
The idea of me not taking offense from other people somehow gets lost on us, doesn't it?
I know, we honestly, for some reason, we think we have to be this way. Like, we have to mete out justice in some way. And that's our little way of meting out justice, is by holding on to some anger against somebody. Like, that'll show them somehow. All it does is eat you up. All it does is sap you of energy, sap you of creativity, sap you of time, the ability to think about other things, because you're lost in conflict, because you won't just forgive somebody. And if you just realize, wait a second, this person's got a personality problem. In many cases, it is the other person's fault, but you don't have to carry that around with you forever. Like, why would that person's quirk or inconsistency or the way they come across wrong, why does that have to live in your head? It doesn't. Honestly, it just doesn't.
I talked with M.K. Mueller, who's a former guest on the One Simple Thing podcast just a couple of weeks ago, and she talks about giving your power away. And when you hold on to things, when you hold on to offense with people, that's what you're doing, really. You're giving them power over you, aren't you?
Yeah, and for what? And again, if it's their fault, you're saying, this person is so rude, or this guy is so pig-headed, or whatever. Okay, let's say you're right. Okay, you can't control other people. So what good does your anger even do? And if you think it enhances your judgment or something, I think that's mistaken. We want people who are in judgment roles to not have anger. We want people who are in jobs where they need to exercise it, like a judge. We don't want judges up there ruling out of anger or being angry the whole time. It actually would make a good sitcom to have the angry judge, but it's not good. Same thing with police work, military work. We want people to take action, yes. So I'm not advocating just going, nothing matters. No, sometimes you have to take action, but you can take that without the anger, and it won't live in your head. It won't sap you of your energy and control, like we talked about, over yourself for the rest of your life. And you can just let things go. It's amazingly effective, and it won't mess with your judgment then.
What I found in my own life, too, is that the anger doesn't stay in the nice, neat little box. You know what I mean? It's like the anger spills over into other areas of my life. So I'm angry at somebody about this, and then I get home and start talking to my wife or one of my kids, and the anger spills over. So it affects every area of my life.
Everything. It makes you more prone to things you don't want to be involved in. Addiction counselors will tell you that. Like hurt, angry, lonely, tired makes you more prone to your addiction. And a lot of us have struggled with addictions or still struggle with them. Well, if you're living in anger, you start this downward cycle too, because you're involved in trying to placate yourself or make yourself feel better. It does. It leaks out in so many different ways, and in impatience with so many different people that have nothing to do with whoever caused you a problem. So now you're letting that person who was rude at work or whatever interfere with your relationship with your wife or your husband or your kids or your neighbors. I think that's foolish. I think there really is a way we can decide, well, I'm just not gonna do that.
So what do we do about it? I mean, so today we're hearing this and I'm going, all right, yeah, I'm hanging on to stuff. I'm letting people get under my skin or whatever. What's the first step into becoming unoffendable?
Well, I think the first step is actually deciding that what I'm saying actually makes sense. No, wait, the first step is actually buying my book. Then the first step after that is realizing that this makes sense, and you do largely control whether you take offense or not. That's an active verb. I'm taking offense. I'm choosing to take offense. You can decide you're not going to. There are things that are so deeply hurtful that we can't just slough it off, and I understand that. A lot of us went through things as kids, for instance, and we can look at our parents and we could be angry with them for the rest of our lives. And someone could say, you know what, given what your parent did to you, I can understand that. It may be understandable, but I do think that's something that you should actually decide, you know what, I don't want to live in anger. It may involve counseling for that 1% of things where you need to deal with it. I write a lot of the book from the perspective of somebody who's a spiritual person. I'm a believer in Jesus, his ethic about forgiving people. But whether or not you're a believer in Jesus or not, you can see the wisdom of that. Not letting this define you, because people do. They can be 80, 90 years old and still defined by something that happened in their childhood or something a husband did to them or a wife. I don't think we want to end up that way. So
Yeah,
I think
it's not minimalizing what you've been through.
No, not at all.
It's just making a choice that you're not going to let it control you anymore. I heard somebody once say that forgiveness is about giving up your right to get even.
Yeah, and you really are. I think it's wonderful. I think it's also about giving up your right to anger. Mm-hmm. I think that's understanding too. And this is a true issue in the world that we need to deal with, which is we ourselves have done wrong things, right? So when I'm angry at that guy for cutting me off in traffic, I've cut people off. I've done it, and I've always wanted them to be merciful with me, like, whoops, I didn't mean to, or it's no big deal, come on. I wish I had a light in the back of my truck I could light up, just like a neon whoops sign for all the times I've accidentally done stuff. But it's amazing, we won't extend that grace to somebody else, but we want to extend it to us. So I'm advocating it's better for our health, it's better for you physiologically to forgive people. You don't live in stress all the time. The wear and tear on your body, on your metabolism, on everything from insulin level to cortisol to adrenaline, all that sort of stuff. Much better for your heart if you'll just let things go. So I think those realizations are important. And like I said, I think adjusting your expectation about the way the world actually works, to continually be shocked and find yourself saying, I can't believe the way that guy said that. If you're in customer service, you can't believe it. How long have you been in this? As somebody who's been in radio, I get complaints, and it doesn't matter if I have a great show or bad show, somebody will complain about something, because that's how people are. Well, I can't always be shocked that somebody called me and complained. At some point, the joke's on me, because at what point do I realize I'm on a football field? Yes, people are going to try to tackle me. I can't be offended every time somebody does it.
Well, his book is called Unoffendable. It comes out April
14th.
All right, we'll have a link to it, to the Amazon link here in the newsletter, so I encourage everybody. Is it still up for pre-order? Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we'll have everybody go pre-order it. Buy at least 10 copies and hand them out to people that offend you, okay?
In fact, I will take it personally if you don't. So.
Brant, thank you very much.
Sure thing, man. That's great.